Welcome to Rebel Watch, an all-Star Wars podcast.
Hey, what are you trying to push on us?
Perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly.
Star Wars fans, welcome back to another episode of Rebel Watch. We're back, as after a week.
Yep.
Maybe back into another groove. We got some good Star Wars news to speak about, but
Can I just say best
Please.
news I have heard
come on.
since Last Jedi came out. All right,
You wanted to talk about this specifically for the clickbait. Right?
Well, it's honestly not even just the clickbaitness of it. It's straight up Star Wars is saved.
It hashtag.
It has been saved.
I mean, they did the hashtag Clone Wars saved. Hashtag
All
Star
of Star
Wars
Wars has been saved. I thought it was,
Yeah.
you know, like all those people out there. I mean, actually, I didn't think this, but like,
Yeah.
you know, everyone's thinking, it's tanking. You know, they're going
Yeah.
too fast. We covered last week. Bob
yeah.
Iger's slowing down.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes like I'll tell you this, Mike.
Come on.
My ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is.
Yes. Amen. It
Okay,
is. It is.
and I'll tell you, you know,
Mhm.
when you trust in the Force, it sends you good news like this.
Amen.
People are going to be hating me for this.
Amen. They will. But I mean, you're just preaching the scripture right now. Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't mean to jump straight into that, but I haven't
That's
even we
okay.
haven't even disclosed what we're talking about.
Haven't even
yet
mentioned the
necessarily.
news. No, hasn't
No.
even been brought up.
Hasn't even. We'll get there.
Just a teaser for one of the biggest, I think, breaking news stories in Star Wars, and some. Well, I mean, since the Clone Wars reveal, I think, right?
Yep.
But how you doing, buddy?
Doing okay. You know, I've been on the sanctuary moon of Endor there, just
Man.
forest moon there, trying to gather my thoughts and, you know, prepare for the war to come.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like that's
Mm.
in episode 9. That's what we have on our hands. Something pretty epic.
Oh, I thought you were
So-
talking about the battle for Endor.
I mean, I'm always ready for that.
That's a different.
I
battle.
relive that. Yeah, it's a different battle, but it's an old battle, but it checks out. Okay.
It does check out. Can we just make a plug? We did a review of the battle for Endor, and I think it was quite entertaining. A lot of canon references,
Right.
if I recall.
Yep. It was that was a lot of fun. I actually wouldn't mind going back and kind of covering that again
Yeah.
at some point, just to go even. You know, you would think that, you know, Mike and I in one take can cover everything as deep as anybody can, but
Amen.
you'd be surprised. We have to go back and, you know, tweak things here and there. I know everyone, you know, thinks that we're part of the story group for Disney, but
Yeah.
you know, I want to go back and take a look at that, dig deep into Caravan of Courage and Battle for Endor.
You know what
So-
I want to do is it's hard to find people nowadays that maybe not, that haven't seen Star Wars. But wouldn't you like to take someone who hasn't seen a lick of Star Wars and have them sit down and watch Caravan of Courage or the Battle for Endor, and they would
Yes.
have no idea what they were watching, which
I
might be good.
I actually have maybe I can recruit some of my students to just like get some reactions.
Yes,
You know?
I mean
They've never.
What
yeah.
are those videos they do nowadays with youngsters? They'll show them like an old video game or something. They'll be like, "What is this crap?" or whatever. Maybe you could take one of them, sit them down, and we'll just
Right.
take some clips of their reactions.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That'd be great. That'd be great,
Yeah.
as long as their parents condone.
Sign off on the waiver. Yeah.
Exactly.
okay.
But yeah, that I'm glad you're doing well.
Yeah. How you doing, man? You doing okay?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Just doing a little bathroom remodel right now.
That's
know?
yep. Mm-hmm.
Been living with a bathroom vanity in my living room for 3 months.
So you got that all put in, right? I don't have to
It's all
avoid
plumbed.
coming over anymore.
Well, it's all plumbed. I probably will need that back of yours to. I got a 61-inch vanity that's got to go up the stairs. So we're gonna test
oh
that
boy.
strength of yours and all that working out you've been doing.
Yeah, we'll have to call our buddy Tom.
Yep, he's got the back. That's right.
He does.
That's right. Well, good. We're doing well. We're ready to talk about a surprisingly, I don't know, eventful week of Star Wars news. So let's just go ahead and get into the HoloNet. And as the first item, we got to talk about it. It just happened a few days ago. That big news that you mentioned.
Well, yeah, the fact that Kathleen Kennedy signed a 3-year contract extension with Lucasfilm, and essentially, with the signing of that contract, has saved Star Wars for us all.
Amen. Amen.
So,
amen.
We all should be. Matter of fact, if Mike, if you could at this point, I don't know if you'll remember, if you could just play that little, indoor celebration theme at the end there.
we're gonna double dip. We're gonna throw it right there when you.
Yeah, and then we'll put it at the end again too, just to celebrate, because
absolutely,
that's really what we should be doing right now. Is kind of lay out your stormtrooper helmets and just kind of have a little parade, dance with some Ewoks, have a good time, because it's been saved. So
shocking, right? I mean, we were just talking about a few weeks ago that she'd probably wrap up 9, and that would be it. But it seems like a couple of years after 9 where there's some potential there for her to create some content.
Yeah.
And that is potentially kicking off Star Wars for the next decade.
Yeah. Yep. And I almost wonder too if it was like she was a part of bringing in, Ryan Johnson and what's his name, the HBO guys, and kind of doing that thing. So I don't know if she had a bigger hand in that, and so they want her to see that through possibly, or they just think like I do that she's doing a decent job. So,
yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, Mike. Let me remind everyone something here.
Come on.
I thought this is kind of funny. So, Kathleen Kennedy, she's essentially the best thing that's happened since, she's the best thing that's happened to Star Wars since George Lucas.
Amen.
And guess what?
Yeah.
George Lucas created this whole gosh dang thing.
He did.
Okay,
he did.
And who did he hand it over to, Mike?
Yeah. He
handed it over.
He went on record saying that there's no one better.
That's what he said.
To fill his shoes.
That's what he said.
I mean, if it's not Dave Filoni, I mean, that was his choice.
Exactly. And that was so. And I think Dave is moving up the ranks and going to be. I guarantee you, that he's in the running for running this whole thing after Kathleen is done.
Do you think maybe they're trying to give him a little more experience because that's
3-year cushion? Yeah,
because they're thinking that there's so much more opportunity for him to get involved, maybe with directing some of Jon Favreau's show, getting a little more experience with that live action stuff, and even, I mean, I don't know if I can say familiarizing himself more with the universe, but giving him even more time to kind of, because if you're getting rid of Kathleen Kennedy, but you anticipate in a few years bringing in Dave Filoni as the president of Lucasfilm, what are you going to do? Throw in some, interim person to fill the shoes for?
No, keep someone who's been running a pretty solid ship.
Yeah.
Let her see some of this stuff out, and then, groom your next guy.
Yeah.
So, or gal.
Yeah. Because in my opinion, the majority of the productions have been successful. I mean, box office wise, for the most part, they have, but I mean, just the content themselves, the creators they've brought in. And dude, she had enough nerve and enough guts to get rid of directors when they felt like things were going awry, like back-to-back productions of things just not really going the way people wanted them to go, and her having to step in and say, nope, different direction. Like, that takes some guts, especially with Star Wars.
It does. Yeah. I remember, you can go back to several episodes, oh gosh, almost a year ago, when we were talking about the stuff going on with Solo and Rogue One, and I was sort of like kind of pleased that, like, you hate to hear this type of rumors or whatever, but if it's not going the right way, the end product is what matters, you know? And so, if it took sort of derailing the train to kind of get people to, this end product that she thought was worthy of Star Wars, then whatever, then she's doing her job.
Yeah.
So.
If she didn't care about the product, man, I feel like, you wouldn't see that type of action being taken,
right.
Because Star Wars is going to make money regardless, but I feel like she actually, people don't give her enough credit for actually caring about the material because she's not tweeting about it all. Well, maybe she is all the time. I don't even follow her, but she isn't exactly always that person out there just, talking about Star Wars, maybe the way that, what's his face is with Marvel. So,
yeah.
Kevin Feige or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's, I think it's good news, for 3 more years, get Star Wars in a good direction for the next decade. And then I think at that point, it's time to bring some fresh blood in. And I think Dave Filoni probably would be.
Could you imagine how excited people would be?
Man.
Yeah.
Maybe an announcement at the next celebration. We
right,
find
not
out
this
who.
upcoming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Man.
Hey, maybe she'll sign another extension, I mean, maybe it's one of those things where like she does so well and she'll sign another extension. And it's like she just kind of keeps going. I mean, we're talking like 3 years and then she's done, so I don't mean to, kind of downplay this. Does it make sense to say like we?
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, she could be the foreseeable, head of Lucasfilm for years
absolutely.
to come, and I give her time. Let's see how these next 3 years go. And I think I don't know, man. I've just been excited with like this. I'm excited that they have a story group. They're talking about making these things all interconnected. Really paying attention to every little product that goes out,
Yeah.
That's a task.
Yeah.
I mean, we can, like we consider ourselves to be, and there's other people who are far more well immersed than we are, but like, there's just so much to kind of keep up with and to keep those stories kind of all, in a line. If they need any help, please, hit me up.
I'm
willing to move out there and help you guys, in any way possible.
Well, and just because it's a Disney product, people compare it all the time with Marvel, and what people fail to understand is that Marvel has a lot of content that they pick from. Marvel does not follow the comics to a T. They don't at all. They pick from certain storylines and they mash stuff together that works in a good story.
Right.
Star Wars doesn't have that kind of content to pick and choose from. They have legend stuff, but they're trying to do something new. So that makes it even more difficult to connect the dots when you honestly they probably don't even know what that direction is. I hope they find that, and I think they're a little more focused on that now, but that makes it much more difficult when you're creating brand new storylines and brand new heroes. Like Marvel's pulling from heroes left and right that people never really heard of, but they've got characteristics, they've got a story of their own, they've got backstory that they've used.
Well, they've got many more years worth of those comic, materials to pull from is sort of the point. Although it's been amazing over the short amount of time from
it's incredible
77 on the amount of extended universe that we have, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's but
absolutely. Well, so I'm sure there will be more comments to talk about, more articles to talk about regarding this topic, but I'm sure for the next 3 years.
Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot of people who agree with us on,
I'm sure
this topip.
I'm sure, man. So. If we don't look like Disney shills now, I don't know
what else we can do.
How we could more, But we'll just move on now. So we just got done watching the new. They're calling it an extended sneak peek of Resistance. I loved it. Personally, it was much more exciting than the first trailer, and I think if you weren't really interested at first watching that first sneak peek, this extended one I think is going to reel people in.
Yeah, it definitely had more in it. And it felt like you got a better understanding of what was going on and what was at stake and what they were working on. So that was neat for sure.
I mean, you see a bunch of different characters. We knew Phasma and Poe were going to be it. We finally see Phasma, but I see this stormtrooper in full red armor, and I'm thinking from reading Phasma, I think it's Cardinal, who at that time in the Star Wars universe, Phasma and Cardinal are kind of equals. Cardinal, when Phasma comes and joins the Order, spoiler alert for some of the Phasma book, but as you said, you're never going to read it. So any listeners are reading it, just go ahead and skip forward a few seconds here. But when she joins the First Order, Hux puts her in as the just the kind of the head of the training of like recruits after they've gone through their like kind of amateur years and their young years of conditioning and things like that. She really soldiers them up. But Cardinal leads them when they're younger, and he kind of sees that as like a demotion because he was leading that program. He was kind of overseeing all of it, and they brought Phasma and thought her expertise and her knowledge and her experience honed more to the older trainees, and then the younger ones, Cardinal will kind of oversee them, and there's a story that goes on with that. But I think we actually see him here, which is cool.
Nice.
We also see Leia. Which
wow,
whoever is doing the voice,
I know,
sounded just like Carrie Fisher.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, it's so spot on.
Oh yeah.
We see a Transdoshan who we think could be Bosk. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. And Starkiller Base. I mean, there's a lot of nuggets in there, man. We saw a bunch of Star Destroyers. We saw Starkiller Base. We saw jet skis. We saw a lot of starfighters. I don't know. It got me excited. It seemed to be a little more on the line with this one. There's the cadets that are, having their little races and stuff, but then we see them behind the lines, as spies, which I thought was kind of cool. What did you think?
Well, what I was wondering about is how did we not know about Starkiller Base beforehand? Like, I mean, is that the whole point behind Resistance? Is that we're going to find out why the Resistance doesn't know as much as they should know? I mean, I know that there was some recon going on, but I don't know. I was a little confused as to how much they know or don't know about Starkiller Base.
Well, we know, Snaps did some immediate reconnaissance in episode 7.
Right.
Snaps Wexley. But
did anybody know before that?
That's the thing. I don't know, because it was an actual planet.
Yeah.
So it being on a map somewhere or picked up, I mean, it looks like a planet. But when you see it from afar, it's got that giant cannon.
Yeah, I know.
That's a little telling. Surrounded by by Star Destroyers, but
right.
I don't know. That's a great question. I hope we do. I hope that shows them on the base, and we could see a little more of the behind the scenes of the Empire that we've always wanted to see, especially now. We saw it with Rebels, but show me the barracks, show me the mess halls, show me the SNL skit when Kylo Ren goes undercover as whoever the engineer. Show me, show me the workings, the inner workings of the Empire. I think we could see that here.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
So let me think here then. At what point then, I'm just still trying to get a timeline on all of this, is Kylo Ren there? Is because Captain Phasma's there. Mm-hmm. Is it possible to see, Ren?
Yeah, I mean,
what I'm saying?
I think so, because
how long? Because I mean, it's obviously after Bloodlines, right? She's when she kind of discovers what's going on and starts to form that resistance. So what is that? 7 years out?
Yeah.
So he could, unless it's just directly after Bloodlines, and then you could have.
I think he is.
Just interested to see. Yeah, I think he is too.
I think he is. Phasma seems pretty established in this role. I haven't finished Phasma's book yet, so I don't know if Cardinal's still around at this point, or maybe he meets his end in this book, but she seems pretty established, so I would think that he would be too at this point.
Yeah. And obviously, Supreme Leader Snoke's there.
Snoke has to be there.
Right?
Yeah,
So there's that.
And he and I think in Phasma, you hear Leia in the beginning talking to one of the spies that ends up just telling Phasma's story throughout the book. But she seems more established too. She is a general of the Resistance at this point, so I think I'm pretty sure he is part of the First Order at this point.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, okay.
Which would be awesome to see. Maybe we won't. Maybe he's doing his own thing and looking for Luke at this point.
Well,
but
I know they want this to the target audience for this is a little bit younger than even Rebels was. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is okay.
Yeah.
So you might see that character coming, but it might be more like what you had mentioned, which is a comedic skit where it's just like it's kind of funny. He's losing his temper,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Maybe even if you did see Snoke, I don't know that you would even need to show those characters because it doesn't seem like you're. Yeah, right.
You could show Hux. I mean, since he was kind of made a fool in The Last Jedi, he
Yep.
could have those comedic moments of not being able to catch the spies, and
Right.
I'm sure we'll meet some other character, kind of like Agent. What was his name from? I can't remember. Agent starts with a C or something, but yeah, he becomes a big villain in that in Rebels, so we'll probably get something like that for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
I don't know. Got me more excited for it, and that's coming soon, man. We got new.
That's next
original
Sunday.
Is it
It's
really?
That is I was looking it up here on my phone. Let's see. It is on the 7th, episode 1, season 1, episode 1.
What?
October 7th. So that's 5 days from when you and I were recording this. So
Okay.
We'll need to hopefully
Don't make
you got the
plans.
app.
Don't make
Yeah.
plans Saturday. So
yeah.
that's
So-
on. And we found out it's on the Disney Channel. It's not on the streaming
it's on,
service. So
and it's coming out Sunday.
yeah.
So it comes out on Sundays at 10 p.m.
Well, get ready. Get rested.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
That is crazy.
A
That
crazy
is
time
crazy.
for that to come out.
It is. But we're
Yeah.
definitely going to give our initial thoughts and a reaction and and a brief review.
Yeah.
We'll get that up Sunday night. Wow, that happened fast. So
know.
less than a week, we have original new Star Wars content coming, and I couldn't be more excited.
I was excited for it. I just kind of lost track of time, and
Same.
like there it is. So
Same. Yeah, September came and it went. But
Yep.
anything else on the HoloNet? That was the biggest news. Anything else?
Boy, not that I've run across in my Twitter feed or anything. Again, we're not breaking the news. We're just
That's right.
commentating on it. I don't know, man. I think that's pretty much it. If there's more, we'll cover it next episode. But if you guys have some stuff or things are coming up, hit us up on the Facebook page.
Mhm.
Drop a couple articles on there. I did just post the Hollywood Reporter article on
Good.
there, and so everyone can kind of hate me for that. And I said I just called it like I saw it.
Yeah.
Actually, I put Star Wars saved ! ! ! ! ! ! ! ! Just to sort of leave it up for debate.
Our
So,
our opinions aren't very obvious there, so
right.
people might be thinking that it's that we're shills or that
Yeah, we're
that
upset about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But as let's go ahead. Let's get into the meat of the discussion. Let's get into the ponderings,
Right.
Because Mr. Obi-Wan himself, I want to call what you experienced a subconscious pondering.
Yes.
with Mr. Obi-Wan.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, like the last couple episodes we've done, it just we've drifted into episode 9 conversation and various things. In a second here, I think Mike's going to talk about some of the leaks, but literally last night, and I thought about it on the way to work this morning. I had a dream,
Okay.
and I remember I woke up and I thought to myself, the Force kind of reaches out to Luke through dreams in the Last Jedi novelization.
Yeah.
It also does that in the Legacy of the Force in different ways, different times. But
Yeah.
he has these dreams, So I'm like, oh, that's a cool connection,
Much like his
And-
father, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's canon.
Yeah. What's Anakin say? Jedi don't have nightmares, right, or something like he's.
Yeah.
When he wakes up, Padme's, asking him what's wrong. So it just kind of came to me, and I was thinking about it this morning, and I started to kind of think about why would it be difficult to imagine that there weren't maybe survivors from the Academy or other Jedi academies, especially when you look at the age in which Luke had started that academy and various things. Like, is it possible that some of these other guys kind of like, because that's like a traditional academy, that's like him starting, on Yavin 4, or is it the moon? Yavin 4, he starts the that Jedi Academy. And so if you read that series, You know, it's where you've got Jaina, Jason, you've got Lobaka, you've got everybody over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is kind of parallels what like the academy that he started for younglings, you know, and it seems like that was like a younger
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
like generation, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking there's that. Maybe, you know, when Skywalker comes to and he looks around and he sees the destruction, could it not be that in the midst of all of that, others escaped?
Yeah.
He was knocked out.
He was knocked out.
know-
And he was knocked out from the beginning
Yeah, exactly.
of the assault or whatever you want to call it.
He was believed to be dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you know, there's all of that. So maybe someone else got away. And then I'm also thinking too that there were other, you know, in Legends there was often temples where just like two Jedi Masters would be two Jedi Masters, two Jedi Knights, and they would be out on a distant planet, and they had a group of younglings, you know, and they were kind of training there. So I don't know. It just kind of kept coming to me that there might be a way in which you could have either a Jedi youngling that has slipped off that was once a part of the academy that could tell more of the tale there, that could meet up with Rey, you know. And again, I could totally see them, you know, bringing forward a character who, like maybe Luke goes to start the academy and he goes to do that on his own, but he might have been, we have no idea. We have no story on whether or not someone like Cornhorn, Kip Duran, and Kyle Katarn were working with him.
Yep.
We have no idea. Like they absolutely could have been, and then he could have said, "It's time to pass on what I've learned." Even though he might have been passing it on to those guys, they're much more like his age. They would be older, like him. You know, and so I kind of thought like there's so much in those years leading up to Bloodlines where he's gone to start this academy. And at what time how long was Ben there?
Yeah.
You know, when did he start that academy? Were there different waves that came through? Was Ben a part of the first group of students who came through? And then, you know, like none of those students graduated to Jedi, you know, or to Jedi Knight? Because think about that. If the academy is running for a while and some of them are older than Ben, you know, perhaps then there's that chance that they would be, you know, out there doing their own thing, part of the Jedi Order. So I don't know.
And I look at I take the new what does Luke call it? A temple?
Yeah,
is that what he calls it?
Yeah, the Jedi Temple.
And you compare that to Order 66. I try to look at those and see the comparisons. I know Order 66 was a much bigger scale than most likely than what Luke experienced, but even to this day, man, there's a new Star Wars game being created that is following a Padawan or a young Jedi Knight escaping the Jedi Temple on Order 66. So like we've read it in the Darth Vader comic. Other people have escaped. So it's not hard to believe that in this instance the same thing could have occurred. And like you said, Luke was knocked out. He has no idea who survived. He just sees this burning temple and a lot of people dead, and that's it. And if we believe that what are the facts? So what are the facts? We know Luke tells Rey that I took a dozen of my students and created a temple or something like that. Is that what he says?
Is that what he says? Huh?
He either says I took a dozen of my students and created this temple, or Kylo turned a dozen of his students. I can't remember what he says.
I think it might have been that he took a dozen. I always thought that was where the Knights of Ren came from.
Exactly. Yeah. But then if we are to believe that Kylo's or Rey's dream, or whatever you want to call that vision, is to be that moment, there were more than, 20 dead bodies around. Like, this looked like a massacre. So to me, it's not that hard to believe, that there could be more.
And here's the thing. So I've often thought about that, and I think Last Jedi gave us some clarity.
Yeah.
In that, like, when he goes to destroy that temple, it's immediately after Luke draws his lightsaber on him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't. I actually think that was a premonition. That might have been something that was to come. Like,
I do too.
Or she saw him doing maybe he sought out another academy, and tried to destroy what was going on there.
Exactly, because in
know.
that vision, he has a red lightsaber.
Right.
He has his helmet. He
Yep.
has his garb. He didn't have those things when he in the flashback that we see in The Last Jedi.
Right.
It looked like some time had, but maybe that her vision wasn't so much the actual moment itself, but who he was becoming, Kylo Ren, from just kind of
Sure.
I'm kind of a I don't know, thinking of it that way, but I don't like that. I think that she was seeing the moment something was happening.
So one thing that J.J. Abrams likes to do is mystery boxes.
Yeah.
He loves to have a box, and it's a mystery.
Yeah.
Right? And so that has had a big question mark on it. People have forgotten, what they've stopped speculating as to what that box is about. Now, we don't do that here on Rebel Watch. We keep speculating about it, okay?
That's right.
All right? But so I guess, that when he's coming back in 9, I was imagining too, I'm like, he's got to pass on. He's got to tell somebody something he set up here.
Yeah.
A line or something, a device that he set up here that you pull the string later on, and then boom, here's the big reveal. Here's the, unraveling of the knot that he's sort of, tied up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that could actually be, like, we could see some cool things, or maybe she has another vision, and that keeps coming back. That comes back to her again. Yeah. And it's something that she's been brought back to, and trying to figure out when that point in time is. Maybe it's this, point in time that is in episode 9.
Yeah.
Although he's gotten rid of the helmet, we'd have to kind of bring some of that back.
Yeah.
It's like, or he could still wear it. Who knows? That could
maybe
been him.
That could have been his identity, and he wants to revert back to that.
Right.
Because
once Snoke's gone, no one's going to tell him to take that silly, stupid thing off.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Yeah, dude, that's no. I don't think enough people are talking about that, because I don't know, the vision. I feel like it tells us so much, but it contradicts with The Last Jedi. So, and if this is going to be the final Skywalker installment, boy, it's got to be big. There's got to be. There's got to be some reveals, right?
First of all, I actually have really reconsidered, and I thought to myself, it's not. There's no way it's not, because they don't have. I don't see them unless they do 2 films. Fitting this all in, getting it all done in such a way that leaves us going, wow. Oh my goodness, this is epic. Yeah. I don't even know. Like I'm even struggling with the idea, like who's the enemy? Okay, so it's like Rey versus Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess it's just good. It's a straightforward, good versus evil now. And there's no, like...
But what's the reveal? There was more depth with the original trilogy. It wasn't just Luke versus Vader,
You had father versus son.
Father versus son. The daughter is revealed in the
6.
In 6. Like, I mean, I don't even know if George Lucas had all of that planned out when he was writing Episode 4. He just kind of grew over time, and it feels like that's what's happening with this latest trilogy. But
yeah.
You're right, man. It just like...
But you hope they have some nuggets. See, unfortunately, I honestly, truly, truly believe that one of their original plans was to have mother versus son.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that was the whole goal, and I think there was going to be some epic showdown, battle of words, or wills, and something there that would either bring him back, or it would just be super sad to see Leia go through that. And I think that was their whole end game. She was their setup. I think to be the last of the legacy characters there, kind of doing, something to either bring her son back. I don't know. She gets that hero moment at the end, but
which to me, that's kind of, I was kind of surprised that moment wasn't The Last Jedi, which it sounds weird because The Last Jedi has the double meaning of Luke and Rey. It really is Luke's sacrifice, which I really thought that was going to be Episode 9. I think a lot of people kind of wanted it to be. I wasn't really sure how I don't know. I just felt more confident about Mark Hamill's performance in a finale like that
Yeah.
than Carrie Fisher's. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Love Leia's character, but that, like you said, that story of mother, you know, either redeeming son or or mother is the last sacrifice in which her son is then this mega villain.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? But like, here's the other thing I was thinking. Like, if they're bringing Carrie Fisher into this movie, they don't have to. They could find a way to just explain it off in an opening sequence of some sort, or even the crawl. But they have something that fits into this story that they've previously filmed that works and that is significant enough to go into the finale. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
What is it? We've asked this the past 3 episodes.
She could speak one line in the episode 9 trailer, and I will bawl my eyes out. I will bawl my eyes out.
Maybe it's a hologram or something that she wrote. What if it's the hologram that she's telling Kylo his grandfather is Darth Vader? Holy cow!
Yeah.
I just thought, what if it is? What if it's a hologram that we see her wanting to send Ben some sort of communication?
That's right.
Whether a hologram or something of this is my story that you need to know, and this is why you need to know it, buddy. That's what it is. That's what it is. That has to be.
Okay. That would be neat because it's almost like a that's really how she's introduced to us, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it'll be a one way to see her off, and she then gets to the chance to explain. No one's had a chance to tell him that your grandfather was Anakin Skywalker, and that he was. I mean, he knows that it's Anakin Skywalker turned to Darth Vader, but that he was redeemed in the end. You know.
Yeah. And if you're gonna do the redemption arc that I think some people still believe, which now with this genius concept that I just thought of, I could see it happening, that battle, because we saw him struggle so much in The Force Awakens with, you know, his father and Vader and the pull to the light and just when you think he's going to become that mega villain, here's the struggle again. We saw him. He was unable to kill his mother. He was unable to do it. Yeah,
it was the one thing that was kind of like, well, and I actually can totally see what you're saying in that, like, the first 2/3 of the film could just be, I mean, it seems like even from Vader, nothing. Even actually right up into the end, he's watching Luke die, and you're like, oh my goodness, this guy's gonna watch his. But then at the end, you start to see him look. You know, he's just looking side to side, back and forth, and then he, like, you know, takes on the Emperor, and it's just sort of like, he's like, so to see a moment like that happen for Kylo, where he has to come back to Ben Solo, you know, to find his center and to save someone, would be interesting. And maybe it's at the calling from his mother, you know, and it even could be her calling from beyond, you know, the grave, beyond.
You're right.
You know, like through the Force.
She learned from Luke to tap into that. She did.
She did. Absolutely, she did. You know, and goodness, I don't know.
I think that would be a good way, and maybe they had planned that, and now they're taking it a different direction, or they're just delaying that redemption to the end. I don't know, but then you go into the question of who's the villain at that point, and it's just I don't know. But I think that could be a cool way that they could bring her in. That's something they maybe have already filmed that was inspired by Bloodlines. Or it's just, you know, just the straw that breaks the camel's back, and it just sends him over the edge. I mean, it might already be there. Who knows?
So I'm gonna tell you a couple things that I kind of like. I've already been thinking, and we're way out here. We're over a year away.
We're pondering.
Things that I want to see in this film. Okay, I want to see more Luke.
Is this a must-haves list?
Close.
Okay.
Close.
Yeah. We'll get closer to that point later.
Yeah. But what I want to see, and what I'm feeling right now, is more Luke even training Rey, maybe even he hinted that he would come back, yeah, to Ben and speak to him.
Yeah.
And so I could see him coming back and speaking to him.
Like
so,
an Obi-Wan Luke moment.
Well, yeah, and it's like if you think he's been tormented by, he's calling out, grandfather, show me. He's wanting him to, and so he has an uncle who, by the way, like in every Legends book, is Grand Master, the most powerful Jedi we've ever seen, hero of the galaxy, time and time again. So you have that caliber of person that could speak to him and kind of give him some trouble or make him think about things in different ways. So anyways, more Luke. I also wouldn't mind seeing a Luke flashback with Amara Jade. So I've said it before,
yes,
and and people think I'm crazy, but here's the thing: if you have a character walk on the screen and just as the same thing I said with Kyle Katarn and Kip Duran and these other characters, if they walk on the screen, we've never cast somebody like that before.
Yeah.
So you could cast whoever you want, and that person we will believe you is Mara Jade, is Kyle Katarn. We will believe you. Yeah. Once you say that to us, like that's who they are. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
like has a great look. I mean, hopefully they do something epic, and we will believe you if you show us, interacting, a woman interacting with Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker back in the day, a younger version of him, dye that beard up again.
That's right.
That's right. And show us that. I'll believe it. You know, I will believe that. So, same thing. So it's just something that, like, as I think about Episode 9, it's like there's a lot of open doors, a lot of possibilities. Too many, actually. So many that we don't really even know where to go. But I want to see more of that. And then I am absolutely down to see Rey and Finn get back together.
Yeah.
And to see some of that magical chemistry, taking place again. Yeah. Because I actually think the hero that we might have forgotten in this whole thing could be Finn.
Yeah.
And
their chemistry was great in the first movie.
Yeah, they had to work right. It was great. They worked on it. It was great, and so we're looking forward to that going forward. But yeah, I just think those are some big things that I want to see.
Don't you think it's kind of unfortunate because the original trilogy, those characters jived pretty well in the beginning, and they got to build on that in the subsequent movies, and I don't feel like Rey and Finn got to do that at all. No. In The Last Jedi at all.
Not at all. Actually,
there's this longing of like Finn trying to, like, as much as she cared about Finn and he cared about her, they just weren't around each other. It didn't even feel genuine. I don't know. It was just very off-putting. But they deserve that, man. They are the reason we fell in love with this new story because they were so. I don't know. We just easily accepted them as heroes in the galaxy, and I think they deserve that ending. It's just
some type of companionship, whether it's friendship, a relationship, whatever it may be. There's some companionship there. Yeah. Whether it's as a friend or as a lover or whatever. In Episode 9, if Rey has gotten so consumed and so carried away with, like, furthering the Jedi Order and all these different things, and then you have, she's just so caught up in all this different stuff, and it takes someone like Finn to remind her, about what, it means to be, even just a hero, or just someone that you can look up to. I'll give you an example. What's his name? So I was just reading in Legends. So, like, Jaina Solo is on all these different missions. She's tracking down Ali Marar. She's tracking down these different Sith characters. And she's kind of has this, like, love triangle going on with this character named Zek, and he's another Jedi, and this Jagged Fell. And Jagged has no force abilities or whatever, but, like, he starts to see the more that Jason Solo drifts to the dark side, his sister is becoming more just, like, obsessed with the idea of being the sword of the Jedi and, like, wanting to she's consumed with, like, training all the time, all these different things and all this stuff. And it takes someone outside of the Order to see that she's not acting very Jedi-like, and that, had to remind her, like, what it means to what you're fighting for, or even to save that person and to pull, and someone who you wouldn't expect. You
Yeah.
wouldn't expect that person to be the one that would pull you back from the brink of whatever's going on,
Yeah.
So I almost wonder too if she's just getting so caught up in this, and that Finn is that grounding, force that brings her back.
Well, hasn't every Jedi experienced that? I mean,
Right.
Yoda, Obi-Wan,
Yep.
Luke, like these very, very famous Jedi have all had some experience, or someone who's had to say, whoa, 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 you're missing the whole point of this.
Yep.
So you're absolutely right. I think she is going to need that. She hasn't even, no one has really recognized her as a hero either. I mean, Finn had that moment of being like, oh, I'm this hero, but like his focus is Rey.
Right. Yeah, you're right. She hasn't. Right.
No concept of what the impact that she's had on the galaxy. She just has this desire to do good. But we've seen that fail. We've seen that not necessarily fail, but become something different than that with Luke Skywalker. So if she is that, comparison, then you're right. Someone's going to have to probably tone her back and say, this is the whole point.
And it can't be Poe. It's not going to be Poe. Like it's cool if they develop and have a more of a friendship. But like we have a whole movie dedicated to the relationship between Rey and Finn. Like to abandon that and to, it's fine to have the rose piece in there and have a bit of a triangle of like because I'll tell you what, man. All the way through 4, 5, and 6, you honestly did not know until Obi-Wan says she's your sister. Your twin sister.
No idea.
And that's when you're like, oh, it's settled then. Okay, so she loves Han. She loves Luke, but she didn't understand where that came from or why she did, but she just did. She felt it through the Force, and she knew that she loved him as a friend, but there was more to it than just friendship, and she didn't know what it really was, and then so that's explained. And they definitely have that awesome moment on Endor, on the Force moon there of Endor. So, yeah.
Ask me later, he says.
Yeah. Yep. Ask me later.
Ask me later. Yeah, you're right. It's going to happen, and I can see Poe and Rey maybe as kind of leaders of this resistance. Well, actually, Luke says the rebellion is born again. So it's this new rebellion. Right. So to speak, and I see them being just kind of leaders and comrades, but I feel like that would be very forced, right? It's just like she doesn't have to be in love with somebody. Like, don't force the Poe thing. If there's gonna be a relationship there, it's Finn, in my opinion. But if it's someone random, cool. But Kylo,
there's still that connection.
Yes,
seriously,
great point.
So. Reylo forever.
You Reylo fans, I start hashtagging that out again.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Well, that was a good ponder, my friend. And I think you need to start sharing more of those dreams.
I think I will. Yeah, I think I will.
They tend to be premonitions.
Well, the Force sends them to me, and I just, like it's the Force's way of like letting me know I need to talk about this kind of stuff. So.
Wow.
As they come, I will jot them down and I'll bring them up. So
that's good, because had you come out and said you will die in childbirth, I'd be like, okay, yes, well, a little loony, but what you said makes sense, and we need to maybe you'll get your own little segment. You know what I'm saying? Just like subconsciously pondering with Ezra Kirk.
I like it. That's awesome.
Do we have any time for more ponderings?
Yeah, let's do the episode 9. Leaks.
The leaks? Oh boy.
Well, are those episode 9 leaks, or was that that was the other guy? Those
are episode 9.
What?
Because remember, there's Finn and Poe. Wait, what are we talking about? You talking about the pictures we looked at last week?
Oh, I think we talked about those, didn't we? Or did we not?
We did not.
What? Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that.
Oh, you were talking about the reference I made to the article about the hooded figures.
Yeah, the hooded figures.
That is from Jon Favreau's set, apparently.
Okay.
Supposedly. Potentially some hooded figures on set on Jon Favreau's television series filming.
Right, so what you're telling me, main characters in that series are going to be Jawas.
That's what
So-
everyone's is a Jedi. It could just be a couple of
It could be a
Jawas.
Jawa. Couple
It
Jawas
could
out
be
there.
a couple Tusken Raiders that got hoods on. Who knows?
Right.
But yeah,
That's
so I mean, spoiler alert. We gotta say it because we often don't talk about these kinds of leaks. Maybe we have in the past. I don't know. I believe we talked about the Force tree and stuff with Last Jedi, so we could let's talk about it. There's been some photos revealed of some sets in London, right? And not too revealing, but I think a bit revealing. What we see Finn in a, I don't know. You want to say it's a kind of a Han Solo inspired outfit?
I mean, how blue were those pants?
They are sharp, my friend. I thought he looked real good in those. But we saw Poe with him as well.
Right.
We saw Jonas in his Chewbacca gear.
That's right.
Under an umbrella.
Yep.
Looked like it was a little hot. What the most revealing thing was, I think, that we saw we saw a couple of horses.
Yeah.
And they had those what do you call them? Like the button things on their face that
did. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that the graphic artist will use for like screen capture for
CGI.
Yeah,
screen capture.
Yeah. So they had those types of things on the horse's face, which I think could be really cool. It could be armor. It could be like it could be a Star Wars, their interpretation of a horse.
Why can't it just be a horse? They looked actually pretty cool out there.
It could just be a horse, but what I'm thinking is that image just made me feel, and it seemed like it was the same environment in which Poe and Finn were on, but it made me feel like the Resistance was being taken back to a very just primitive nature, just back to just fighting with clubs. They don't really have much now. They all left on the Falcon. Remind you, like
they did.
Everyone left on the Falcon that is currently in this rebellion. So it just feels like they're just going back to a more primitive age. And will we see more of that kind of like hand-to-hand combat? Will we see, I mean, the First Order seems to still have it all other than losing their dreadnought.
Right.
They lost, Snoke's ship, and I think they lost another Star Destroyer there when Admiral Hope flew through. But
there are a couple. They lost several.
Yeah, they lost a few. So
yeah,
I don't know. What were your thoughts on seeing those?
So I mean, it does kind of remind you if.
I know what you're gonna say.
Well, oh boy. Well, hold on. Let me change.
Come on, finish that.
Let me, so first of all, it does remind. It makes me think. Well, there are other allies out there in the Outer Rim, right? So they're, Snaps and those guys are out doing their thing, and even in the Battlefront 2 campaign, we got that really cool piece where like Iden Versio's daughter is sent out. We all thought perhaps she was like gonna be Rey's mom, but whatever, she's sent out to like do more recruiting and recon and stuff like that. So they're still, I think they're gonna reconnect with someone, but kind of remind me of that primitive, Ewok battle that we had.
I do it. I exactly do it. I hadn't made the connection yet, but like once you mentioned, I was like, I know exactly what he's saying.
Right? I mean, because it's like that would be something that would talk about a throwback. Episode 9, comparing it to 6. And have a short little moment where like you're using more primitive weapons, and you've got to kind of be more resourceful, outsmart the enemy. Yeah. If a bunch of Ewoks can do it, then I mean, with some clubs and bows and arrows, come clubs, and
I've got a running title for it right now as Episode 9, Attack of the Porgs.
Right.
Maybe it's the Porgs convene with the rebellion and they're the saviors, just like the Ewoks.
That'd be crazy.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Would it not be crazy to see an Ewok like Peekba show back up though?
Yes.
I'm actually disappointed that they haven't done that yet. I think like having one, just even if it's just one because we know after they've been exposed, to all what's happening, like they take off. Peekba's like a technician. I mean, she's
they could do whatever. I mean, we saw them in the battle for Endor.
Absolutely, learning like crazy.
In my opinion, fired up the ship,
cannon,
shot the cannons, used the weapons.
Right,
like you said, Peekba, engineer, like computer expert,
computer wizard. Yep.
I think she was even a pilot.
Right.
So I mean, they can do it all. So let's see one wielding a big old blaster or something. Like, let's go.
Well, yeah, I mean that, or just even a technician, them working on something, especially some of those young ones who were like, in Bright Tree Village growing up, they have 30 years to grow up and learn all this new technology, and often, I mean, people think I'm nuts, right?
Nope,
but like,
nope.
I would love to see it. And I also think, often in Legends, Luke would go back to, he set up a sanctuary there.
Yeah.
And the Jedi would go there for meditation and for, in times of stress and stuff, that was a fallback, a place where they could go.
Yeah.
So they're teaching in Legends, learning from the Ewoks, still talking to them and discussing and things. And so, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool. But anyway, so
so epic.
Back to what it looked like there. We're on a pretty rural planet. It looked like we were pretty like traversing maybe to a hidden hideout, like a secret place, maybe even accompanying Rey to a ancient temple or something.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
And you just don't know. Maybe those two were sent out on their own recon to meet up with a special contact, and they come across Lando. You know, it's like
that would be sweet.
Maybe he's moved on from Cloud City, or he's doing his own. I don't know. I just don't know. So
no.
Will
Absolutely.
we go back to Cloud City? Is the question.
I think we could. I think we could.
100% we go
Billy
back.
D is confirmed in this movie, and I don't think he's too mobile right now. So if we could see him in a setup on Cloud City doing something or other, all for it. All for it.
It'd be really cool to take us back there.
Yes, absolutely, man. Yeah, not a whole lot to talk about with those leaks, but I don't know. I think they're noteworthy because it feels
Chewbacca's there. I forgot that.
Chewbacca's there. Yeah, he might have an Ewok on his shoulder. Who knows?
Right. They love the Ewoks. Love Chewbacca. So
they do. We know that after reading. Yeah, after reading Last Shot. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see also too if they bring any like another Wookiee into the equation, or if they go to Kashyyyk, or will they revisit any other planets? I like that they just move on to new ones, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings. Again, like they did in the prequels, we go back to Tatooine,
Yeah.
And we haven't done that in this sequels.
Will we?
I think we will. I feel it feels like something that they should do.
Yeah.
It feels like there's got to be some clue, and even if it's Rey going back to seek out like Obi-Wan's journal or something. I know in Legends it's gone in different way. It's different places. Maybe in the comics, I think they've talked about it.
Yeah.
As to where it's at, but maybe going back there to search out clues, or just various things.
Or is Jakku the new Tatooine? Will we revisit Jakku? Because
we could.
There's some questions there from the Aftermath series.
Right.
I mean, it feels like the First Order was kind of born there. So
that's a good point.
Maybe that's the new Tatooine, and we don't actually visit Tatooine, but
we go back there.
I was
for the
trying
answers.
to think, like, maybe what's the connection?
Yeah, why would you go back to Tatooine? I mean, it's cool just because it would
awesome.
be like there'd have to be a really good reason to go.
Yeah.
So,
a hidden Skywalker.
Maybe Luke left his lightsaber there. He went back and.
True.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right. Part of my dream that I forgot. And because we're still talking 9, we're still talking leaks. Is this okay? Is it all right, man?
Absolutely, man. We got all night to ponder.
Care if I talk for a little bit?
Talk all you need to.
Let me just podcast here for a second. All right. So, I was thinking about the two options. That like Luke either doesn't know about the survivors or knew that there were other academies.
Yeah.
And in my dream, it was the idea was that Luke actually went into exile to protect them as well.
Yep.
And that Luke went in there, because I was thinking about why Snoke says, he didn't expect Skywalker to be so wise and how wise he was. And that like perhaps he had hidden other artifacts away,
Mhm.
or maybe he foresaw certain things, and he left different relics, like
Yeah.
his lightsaber, his green lightsaber.
Yeah.
Perhaps he left that somewhere for someone to find, already
Yep.
constructed, and then we can deal with them learning to construct their own lightsaber in their own time.
Mhm.
But you might need one, out the gate.
Yeah.
The idea of like kind of like a holocron,
Mhm.
left somewhere, a compass that he had on Octu.
Yeah.
Uh, did he the map that's out there leads to Skywalker? Like all this is sort of like a ruse to sort of say like, yeah, it's so difficult to find me, but they're going to be so obsessed with the search that they won't look elsewhere. They
Mhm.
won't look towards Rey. They
Yeah.
won't look towards these other, things that I've set out there. So I
Yeah.
kind of thought that would be the great wisdom in Skywalker going into exile and cutting himself off from the Force, is that it's such to the dark side, it's such a seductive thing. They get obsessed with finding it's something that they want to bring an end to this. They sow their will, their mind was bent, and it
Mhm.
kind of fits. I mean, Snoke says that he believed it would be Skywalker who would rise, be this great
Mhm.
light that would rise to meet the darkness, but it was Rey.
Mhm. Yeah. And
And
did Luke know that?
well,
Like,
and I think Luke hid things from himself. I think
yeah.
like when he's questioning, who are you, and like
Yeah.
why are you here? I think he set in motion things well before all of this started. It could just be that she was someone sent to him in the Force, and he knew that would come to be, or that he had to keep the attention on himself, or the search for himself, because he creates a map.
Yeah.
He gives a map to Lor Santeca.
He did.
So what were his intentions to begin with? Mike, we've been lied to, and I've said this before. Like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if in The Last Jedi, most of that was a lie. That he was telling us that he was there for that just because he came there to die. No, he didn't. He came there for more. Well, he did come there to die, but I mean,
he did. But does he even really get to have that much of a conversation with Rey about these realizations he's had? Because once he comes to her, we read in the novelization that he's just like, Rey was right. I need to go tell her, like, they need me. Finds her with Kylo, flips out. They have this engagement, and he's just like, it's not going to go the way you think.
Right.
So I think your question's valid. Was there more there that he himself didn't even... He wasn't tuned into the Force, so a lot of what he could have been feeling, he needed the Force.
Yeah.
So, and I think something else that could even be brought up as well is before The Last Jedi was actually released, Mark Hamill said that he felt like, or he was told, I don't know which, but that Ben Solo was the chosen one. We talked about that before the movie came out.
Yeah. Yep.
So knowing that wasn't the case, did he anticipate someone else? Did he think he would have to be the balance to that light? Or if he just kept himself away, everyone would be fine because they're just going to search for Luke Skywalker?
Right.
What was his goal? Was it just to be left alone and die for failing? Or was there a bigger purpose?
I think some like the Last Jedi novel answered not answered, but like hinted more at the idea that he had gone there so that because in his mind it was the factions, the Sith versus the Jedi.
Yep.
And that it was those factions that were really kind of, that the Jedi had failed, and that their arrogance and their overconfidence and things like that is what sort of allowed some of these Dark Lords to persist and stuff. And so he is struggling with his own self and his own failures, and the idea of the Jedi Order, But I also believe though that there was something more to it. I think originally, that he had in the beginnings maybe. He's there for a decent while. He's there for years.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe he had something else in motion. I feel like he just hasn't revealed it all to us yet. I honestly feel like there's
Yeah.
more. It's an Obi-Wan reveal that's going to be coming from Luke in Episode 9.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was thinking about the moment with Rey on the rock too, and him kind of leading her through the motions, and she's like, I sense all these things. He's like, powerful light, powerful dark, brings balance.
Yeah.
How did he not sense that? Did he just think he was so powerful that Snoke and Luke were his equals in the Force? Or like, did he realize someone else would be necessary?
I think he thought that if he cut himself off from the Force, that the Force would choose someone else.
Yeah.
And that it would call someone, it would do, that it would balance itself out. And that he would just sort of, go away. I mean, I think the reason he thought that is because he didn't think he was, doing anything right. As Yoda says, that you've lost Ben, lose the girl Rey.
Yeah.
We cannot.
Yeah.
So you can't. Basically, you can never stop just because.
Yeah.
You fell down there doesn't mean you can continue to stay down. You have to get up and you have to keep kind of moving. So that's part of the lesson.
It was purposeful for him to shut himself off. If he knew that someone would rise, that was purposeful of him.
Well,
not just trying to hide from them, but to allow someone to allow the light to counter the darkness. Because he himself didn't think he could do it.
Can I tell you something? So the more I have read about Legends and just here recently refreshed my memory on all these different things. Jason Solo, they are scared oftentimes that he could walk up right behind various masters and they did not sense him in the Force.
Dang.
Because he had cut himself. He would cut himself off, or he would close himself off. I think what Luke did is slightly different in that he severed that connection for the time being, and he really just completely closed it off.
Yeah,
because Jason could still use the Force, but like he would close himself, his presence. You could open your presence to other people as you showed up, even convey emotions and feelings, battle, meditation, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of very interesting that Luke chose to cut himself off from the Force.
Yeah.
And he went there. It's almost like, he didn't want to just off himself and just be like, oh, I'm done. They don't need me anymore. Because he doesn't believe that way. But he's going to this island to die. I think he set up, I guess part of my dream and what I was thinking, he set up things and then he said, and I'm going to leave this map, as maybe sort of like, if everyone has to come here and find me and destroy me, then destroy me. Come here and your attentions are still on me, but yet I'm going to go away, cut myself off so that someone else can rise. It's complicated. I don't really, we're kind of doing this without a lot of answers, but
I also think I've been meaning to get to the last pondering for a few weeks now, but that whole what he did also explains the Force's rise in Rey with a vengeance and why her development happened so quickly.
Absolutely.
Was because of the fact that there was no one there to balance the Force. So
you're right, Mike. And because Luke is the master that she needs, and it's trying to send her there.
Yeah.
And it's trying to, call out to him through dreams, which we got in the novelization.
Yeah.
But if Luke Skywalker won't train her, then the Force will.
Yeah.
Like, the Force is a powerful ally. And it can whisper things and it can kind of guide you, and you get these urges and, various things. So, who was the first master? Yeah. The very first master to teach the ways of the Force to someone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was sort of like the Force is its own, thing, and it can kind of teach and guide and, and then it's your job to pass on what you've learned. So, I think this is one of those situations where the Force stepped in, and the Force, again, back to the title, The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
the Force awoke in Rey,
It did.
and it really things she didn't even understand. She can understand why she's doing what she's doing or what's happening, but like
Yeah.
it has to do that because Master Skywalker has vanished.
Yeah.
And he is gone. So
yeah. And talking about that balance, I was thinking about the lightsaber scene where Rey and Kylo are both reaching out to it to try to take it. And in the novelization, do you remember? I can't remember exactly what it says, but it talks about that kyber crystal and it not being able to find a home or a balance.
Yes.
I feel like that crystal and that lightsaber kind of signifies the Force in a more broader idea. I don't know that it's not balanced.
Right.
It doesn't know. I don't know, because so many
can't find a home. It's
no, and I feel like their futures are uncertain too, because there for a while you really weren't sure what Rey was going to do, really not sure what Kylo was going to do, and it just kind of, I don't know, it's a bigger perspective on, I don't know, what we were talking about with the Force trying to balance itself out, and it's going to find a way to do it,
right?
But because at that point Luke was still alive, still kicking, and he was fully consumed in the Force, so
right. I
don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, just an interesting nugget at the end of episode 8. They left that lightsaber, the pieces in her hands, so she can reverse engineer that.
Right. Yeah.
To create her own lightsaber.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty genius and pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there's that.
Because that's how most of the, I mean, we saw in Rebels,
Yeah.
The younglings taken to a planet to find a crystal, to do all these cool things and build their own lightsaber. And then we see in a lot of more recent canon stuff and comics that they're taking crystals from other lightsabers.
Yeah.
And creating their own. So Kylo seemed to have done it. Darth Vader did it. Right. And Rey seems like she's going to do it now too. So it's
and I know that crystal was split. So I mean, she could still find a new crystal and has to go find one that calls to her. But I'm seeing
good point.
That lightsaber, is something that she is like. She just sees the inner, like the innards of it. She can take it apart now. She can reverse engineer, And now when she finds her kyber crystal. By the way, what color do you think her lightsaber is going to be? I think it's going to be green, but that's just me.
There's speculation, or there's rumors out there that it's blue, but
that'd be cool too. I would like that actually.
There's
cool.
I happened to hear listening to some other videos. I heard some other rumors going out.
All right.
Speculation. It's probably Mike Zero. I don't know why I'm listening, but I don't know. But that was a good pondering, my friend.
Yeah.
I want to save that bigger discussion of Rey and her rise and power. Force power. For maybe that roundtable discussion that we're going to have in the next couple of weeks, get some other perspectives on that, and it might get a little political at time, as you never know. You never know.
That's okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good roundtable. We have some good folks you've lined up to possibly sit down and talk to us about that topic. And can we throw the topic out there so people know what we're
absolutely
big topic we want to talk about going forward?
Go ahead.
No, it's your topic.
Like I said, I've said it a couple times, but everyone questions Rey's rise and Force power and how she gets to where she's getting so quickly, and we just kind of mentioned why we think it happened, but Ezra Bridger in Rebels took accelerated Force ability course and showed way more pronounced and powerful abilities than Rey ever did, in my opinion, in the first couple of episodes in Rebels. So it's never questioned. I don't see videos about it like I have with Rey. No one says anything, and if it's just that it's different material and hardly anyone watches Rebels, cool, I'll accept that. But I feel like it's an interesting comparison, and Ezra and his growth is never questioned. It's never questioned. And this is all without really the training of Kanan Jarrus, mind you. He was just kind of observing Ezra at this point. He hadn't really got into much with him. So I think it's a fair comparison.
Mike has rewatched Rebels. I can tell. I can tell.
Man, I'm still pushing for season 4. I gotta get back to it. But
That's
I don't
awesome.
know. It's been something on my mind, and I know, especially a couple of the folks that we want to talk to have watched Rebels, and I think they'll have some good perspective as well. But yeah, man, lot to talk about this week. I'm really happy we got together and discussed it, because just the news alone was noteworthy, but we always have good ponderings each week. The episode 9 speculation does not stop.
Right, it does not. It will not. And honestly, I'd like to encourage people again. Our we don't. I don't tweet a lot, but I do check Twitter a lot. So same with the Facebook. I mean, if you put something on there, we would definitely read it. So and where we like to discuss things is just in the podcast, versus there's times where we'll go back and forth in comments, but I think we love to bring, comments up on the show. Yeah. So if you guys have a pondering or there's something you want to hit us up, you can always find us at on Twitter at RW2187, and then also on Facebook at Rebel Watch Podcasting. There, and just kind of post some of your thoughts. We posted just different articles here and there, little bits of stuff. I think we do, and we had a little business meeting Mike and I did before this episode, and we're going to continue that business meeting after this episode. But we're making some moves, my friend. I think we've got a few maneuvers in us, and some old codes that are checking out, and we're on a top secret mission, so we want to be sharing more with you guys later about that and just things that are coming up, here on Rebel Watch, man. Just
sounds like we're selling out.
Sounds like we're selling out. Yeah, we're just
right.
We're moving out to California, relocating the show.
Yep. We could use it.
Kathleen's going to be a regular guest on the show. We are going to
that surprise reoccurring third member is Kathleen Kennedy.
We're part of her, PR team.
Down.
Oh, absolutely.
Man. Yeah.
So, all right, man. Anything else this week?
No, man. That's pretty much it. Get to watching the solo extra features. I still haven't finished those, but
right.
I have another pondering for another discussion on Solo, and I think its importance in the Star Wars galaxy and its history, and it's a much bigger movie to me after watching and listening to it a few times than it was when I first saw it for the first couple times. So I think it's a great movie, and I think a lot of people need to watch it.
I'm with you on that. I would even say your other pondering, just so you don't forget there. Yeah, we wanted to talk about Thrawn eventually. So when we talk about Solo, let's bring up a couple of those passages you've been sending my way.
Boy, those excerpts.
Yeah, significant, really significant. So
can I just tease people with
it?
A little teaser. I mean, if the notion of a Chiss Jedi does not intrigue you, my friend, then I don't know what does.
Yep.
So
come on.
So we'll talk about that once we finish up that novel.
Right. Okay. Whew. All right. Well, I think that's it for this week. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hit us up, again at RW2187, and find us on Facebook. You can also send us an email at rebelwatchpodcasting@gmail.com. And that's how you can kind of get a hold of the show there. So, but all right, we'll be back. In a couple weeks, we've got that roundtable, and then we've also got just various episodes that we are kind of working on. More ponderings, more HoloNet news, all that good stuff coming your way. So, all right, guys, remember, as always, may the Force be with you.